Hey everybody, I'm back. Hey Kevin. We're gonna pick up with the PRs, and I gotta look at 8:30 again. Gotta write that down. I want to get done with these in within like an hour, so let's see if we can. I really shouldn't rush all of this. All right, I was working on 821, encountered a bug with the camera for the battle map. After hitting against my head against the code for a bit, decided I would do what any sensible engineer would do and rewrote it. Yeah, I read this stuff already. Yep. Have it in an 821 in the battle map. Okay, I see. Okay, visible camera size. Pounds outside center. Hmm. Okay, I mean, this sounds reasonable. Let's go load it up. HPR checkout 834. Loads out of that. Rello, Lepchus. How's it going? There we go. All right, did that start? I don't actually, I don't pay attention to what I do second to second here. Man, I'm always freezing after lunch. Feel a little silly saying Rello. Nope. No, I don't. All right, that's probably good. Yeah, I think this is looking fine. What happens if we go all the way to the right side and then expand this and shrink it? Okay, good. What about on the left side? Had a good weekend of D&D for my birthday. Wait, birthday? Isn't that coming up later this week? Yes. You were the one who was wrong. I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw that on my calendar. Yeah, no, that's not how celebrations work. You're supposed to celebrate the week of. Anyway, that's good to hear. Also, you say D&D, but didn't you start a Pathfinder campaign? Are we? I don't know if you're also doing a D&D campaign. I wouldn't put it past you, but I don't know if that simplification was for my sake. Like, I don't know the difference. One has the wizard, whereas the other has the mechano engineer, which I just made up. Now see who doesn't know D&D. All right, this looks good. Looks good to me. I Okay, done. Next up, this medium change. Why do they install git text and have it in their path? I almost certainly do not have this. I do have this. Did I install this? What even is this? Display native language translation of a textual message. Okay. I had to travel for work this weekend, so we moved it. Birthday game was actually D&D because it was a sequel to my. Oh, I see. Gotcha. Probably the last D&D game I'll ever run. You don't know that. You've got all this writing energy and it's got to go somewhere. It's probably going to go to D&D again at some point in your life, unless you're totally off it for Pathfinder. To me, to me, to me, to me, to me, because you said to me, I always think of that. What? Is that is that a meme I'm supposed to recognize? It looks like something AI would just autocomplete. Generate and merge. I wonder, yeah, the readme was modified here. I'll do the following. I'm running on side VS Code. .NET Run project. Sounds good. I'll skip generating those. Sounds good. Okay. So I am going to trust this. And if there's ever a problem, I'm going to look at it then. Yeah. Hey, Half. How you doing, Half? Super comfortable doing Pathfinder from now on. It's just a better game system. So I'm curious to know the differences without actually learning the differences. Because I don't think I'd want to play it anyway. But just from sort of, yeah, just from a general curiosity and interest. Because I heard that Pathfinder gets into the numbers more. It's somehow even nerdier, I guess, but it's like a better balanced game. But how and how would that have changed my D&D experience? First AI created language, and that was part of it. Gotcha. The article is very interesting to me. This is in 2017. Wait, have I seen this? Huh. Well, now I know. Yeah, I think this is good. I only glanced at this since it's a dev-facing tool and will probably see any potential problems when we go to use it. But it looks good to me. Thanks for taking the suggestion to turn this into a cross-platform program into account. Ding. You can't stop yourself. Got to stop at some point. You got to say, okay, that's the last pair of two me's that I'm going to type. It's crunchier. Rules are stricter in that if a player has a question, there's almost always something you can reference to find the answer. It's balanced so you can play higher level campaigns without being gods, essentially. It would not have changed your experience. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie. I think it was called Honor Among Thieves. And I thought it was good for what it was. I was looking for some sort of, like light fantasy movie, and it fit that for me. And while watching it, I couldn't help but think that most movies kind of play out like how a D&D campaign probably should, which is not just I have fireball, so I use fireball. It's more like I cast fireball on the rope and it knocks down a chandelier and the chandelier hits someone and then the chaos allows me to do something else. And it's like, okay, all of that stuff feels pretty natural in a movie. When you're used to playing video games your whole life and you're used to like A button jumps, B button runs, then it's harder for me to come up with that stuff and then have the dungeon master play it out in a realistic way. I think it just takes experience from everyone's side, the dungeon master, the players. Okay, so this just adds in a scene that we're not using. I'm gonna look at the scene, but beyond that, I don't think there's any real issue here. And I think the picture looked good. So let's just go load that up. Mines. Wait, what? Did I load the right thing? 837, right? Oh, what's that? Not possible to fast forward aborting. Your branch and add new instances have diverged. God, I always forgot to do this. Pull after force. Whoops. Get fetch, reset hard. Yeah. I should just write this down in my Git notes because I looked this up quite a lot. Yeah, I'll just write this up in basics. Force pulling. When someone force pushes to their branch. This is how you pull. Hey, Couch, welcome back. Thanks for the 2 months. Yeah, 1,000 commits fine. He did use a branch, which is fine. I don't mind. I just need to remember this. All right, so it's get fetch, which we would have done, and then just a get reset hard. Get reset. Actually, we should just be able to do it this way. Dark / add new instances. Remote name / branch name. Get reset origin / add foo. All right, so now if I do that, get pull, there should be no problem. Perfect. And now I should be able to open up mines. Still not there. Bipub, thank you too. Wow, I think I've very rarely seen 2 subscription messages right next to each other. This is what it's like to be a big streamer. Probably one of the dash hard. I don't think I needed it in my case because I didn't have anything in my working tree. Maybe I did. Maybe that's why I wasn't there. Why do I have like a billion modified files now? This does not look good. In the big leagues, 2 subs. All right, I'll put the dash hard in here. All I want to do is look at the mine scene. There it is. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I think it looks good. Cool. Looks good. Thanks for adding this. And that brings us to our final change here, which is 8:30, which I believe Kevin just made some changes to. Done and fixed. When you verify this, could you also try running the generator test on your machine? You should be able to do it just from VS Code. A button should appear next to the test method. How to do some tweaking in the test setup to properly compile test inputs. Okay, yeah. So let's go pull that. Good. Okay, so first, what's all this then? Discard. Get pull. Yeah, good. Okay. Let's see. Generator test. Generator test. Are there any other generator test files? They're the string extension tests as well. All right, well, let's start with the generator test. So a button should appear. I might need to build first. Is it building? Did I even... What's going on? Something's not right here. Reload this whole thing. Rebuild didn't do anything. There it goes. Oh, it's in terminal. Okay, I checked the other tabs. Yeah, great. So now we should see a button show up. We do. I click this. We should see that it passes, which I think we have to go into some like test thing over here. I don't know where. There. Yeah, that passed. And I guess we might as well run these two. Yeah, that worked. Are there any other tests in here? There are. There's probably, oh, this failed. What happened? Property length equal to 1. Actual was 0. Isn't this saying that it... Strange. Diagnostics. Just delete the test. Done. Whoop. So we didn't get any diagnostics back. We're supposed to check its ID. This means it probably didn't generate anything, I wonder. Hey, Cypher. Well, I mean, I guess one of the things we can do is just try this out. So we go to signpost, and I could try putting this sort of thing in here. Test I:D. And then we do messages.get test 5. Okay, yeah, that works. And it knows that it knows it takes in an object. Wait a second. So what do the format modifiers do? Maybe I don't understand that part. Huh. It's supposed to test you can't use an invalid identifier as a placeholder. Oh, I see. So you're saying that if I were to do something like hi there, it's not going to know that that's wrong? It looks like it knows. It didn't rebuild, which is, I guess, a little bit strange. One or more are not valid. Okay, I think it just hadn't updated then. Yeah. Seems like it thinks it's valid unless there's a formatting specifier. What is going on? This should fail now because it doesn't have, okay, I don't know. I think we need to change that other thing about tasks.json needing a problem matcher thing. Hey, Hepta, what am I doing at Costco stream? Can you imagine? Just me getting my groceries, not even talking about anything. Just see me put apples in the cart. Try high dot there. Oh yeah, you're right. Underscores are fine. Still I should probably get this. Business expense. Only if I stream it. Did this merge in? No, it didn't. Okay, let's go get that other change then. Program on the Costco computers. My wife wanted me to get something from Costco the other day, and it's probably the first time in a very long time. Like they usually ask at the cash register, they say, "Hey, did you find everything you need?" And I'm like, "You know what? I did not today." And I showed them a picture, and they went and checked their stock, and they said, "Oh yeah, we don't have this." And I'm like, "Do you ever have it? I don't actually know. Did it come from this store?" And they're like, "Yeah, we do usually." They just ran out. So unfortunately, there was no happy ending there. Did not get the product I wanted, but I did find out they should have it the next time. Let's reload this whole thing. I think earlier when you had 2 placeholders in sequence, it was detecting something odd. Something weird had happened originally, but okay, this part's fine. Now I put 2 placeholders. Now it should find an error here. It doesn't. So I think the stale error thing doesn't get fixed automatically. Actually, it doesn't even detect an error there. It should though. It should find high and buy for this. I bought all those. Okay, what was the product left? Just huh. Yeah, input string was not correct. Failed to parse near offset 18. Expected an ASCII digit. Oh, it does know these then. Well. Well, why doesn't it get the other one? No overload takes 2 arguments. Yes, something weird happens for this. And I think reloading fixes it. And now it'll have regenerated this function so that it actually has 2 arguments. No, it still didn't. What? Is it that they're right next to each other? If I rename this to hello. No, something's going wrong here. All right, let's delete the by and see if that fixed this. Did so confused. I think it's like it only sees one placeholder. Yeah, but it's not renaming this thing now either. I wonder. Oh, whoops! I meant to reload, not rebuild. They both start with re. Did this work? Ah, that fixed it. Okay, so now we see hello there. Now if I delete this and I put in bye right next to it, does that get fixed? No. Okay, what if I put another thing in between the two? Still no. This is a pretty important scenario. We definitely need this to work. Must be a case of bad regex. Okay, yeah. Okay, no. Yeah, okay, definitely. It's definitely that. Now that I see what it generated here. Make jorts for tall dudes like me with Skeleseller. Imagine if that's what it took. I tried traditional marketing, all this stuff. It's not working. We're getting like tens or hundreds of people. But then Mitch wears jorts out in public and it just catches on. People just get it. They're like, wow, I really want to play that game. All right, I'm going to paste this into here. Seems there's a problem with this input turning into this. Oh, you can't tab that back in. I'd wear jorts in public. We should have a Skeleseller jorts meetup. Okay. All right, so we're finally on to the Thursday tasks, which is that we need to automate the rest of the enchanter stuff. Hey, Gandalf. How'd you set your command palette location? You can just drag this window. So typically it's up here. You can just put it wherever you want. And yeah, I find in the center of the screen is better than always having to like, well, depending on the size of your monitor, it might not be much of a difference in your eye angle, but if you have a super large monitor, it could definitely change where you're looking. No way, so simple, yeah. All right, let's go revert these things. Might have a negative effect. I don't think it would have a negative effect. How could it possibly? Who doesn't want to see people wear jorts? Steam, Twitter, jorts, other. Why put the most used option third though? To throw people off? All right, I want to merge main into my branch now. Problem number one, I don't remember what my branch is called. Apparently enchanter perks. All right, now we get pull origin main rebase. I hope this isn't hard. Oh, that was the easiest thing possible. Wow. What are the odds all of my code is self-contained? Get, push, force, bing, done. All right, let's try running it. Might need to run that UID tool as well. I think I already have that written down though. So the goal for today is now to automate the enchanter. Before we do that, let's make sure we've got everything working correctly here. We should probably set the, let me write this down. We should probably set the map location. Set battle maps starting position so that you can actually see the forest. Or just set the zoom to 0.5 like it used to be. I actually think it used to be 0.4, but 0.5 is close enough. Oh. That's kind of a trippy effect. It's probably not obvious at all, and maybe it's just my expectation, but that change we made earlier, so this is using a nearest filter, so you see all the pixel boundaries are crisp. Same thing when you zoom out once, pixel boundaries are still crisp. Now you zoom out again and it changes the filter entirely so that it's linear, and now it kind of purposely fuzzes them a little bit. And if you're really closely paying attention, it's pretty bizarre. But maybe that won't throw people for a loop. So let's see. Convention keynote would go crazy. I feel like it'd be an Apple style Steve Jobs type of presentation, except with more flair. Like I show up and I'm just wearing jeans, and I'm like, but what if? And then I rip off the legs, not all the legs, and make them into jorts. What if you could wear these? People are just losing their minds in the audience. They're cheering. They're throwing $100 bills. I don't see anything on stream. Yeah, maybe it's not super obvious. It's like a subtle difference in the blurriness because the filter is changing. In fact, I kind of wonder what would happen if we set it to, let's try something really fast. I know this isn't the task at hand, but let's try setting this to a 0.75 in between. Would this look okay? Because if it does, maybe we can use fractional zoom values for this. Is this 0.75? This is 0.5, so this has to be 0.75. Honestly, it looks pretty good. Yeah. Wow, I'm very surprised about that. I thought this would look terrible. That's pretty great. Let's try 0.25 as well. I guess as long as I'm changing this, we might as well set the default zoom to 0.5. Wait, now it looks bad. Oh, because the filter's not set correctly. We need to, well, we need to fix that. Wait, what happened to 0.25? Is that this? I can't tell. I can't tell. Let's go to, let's set this to 1 again. And then whenever the camera zooms, we'll just change it so that it prints out. Come on, you can find it. Set zoom. Setting zoom. Because like I said, I just can't tell what level this is at. All right, so it's 0.75, 0.5, 0.25. Okay, yeah, 0.25 super zoomed out. That is probably never necessary. And it does start to look bad because now our 3 pixel boundary turns into a 0.75 pixel boundary. It doesn't look good. Yeah, but 0.5 works. Okay. And technically 0.33 would work as well. If we set this to like 0.34, it should at least have a boundary around it. Yeah. I do think it looks pretty shoddy though. But the 0.75 doesn't look too bad. I don't need to do any of this right now though. We can just leave this as is. Yeah. Okay, so what are we doing? We're automating this, right? Make a perk for auto casting spells. Once unlocked, put a radio button next to each lectern that lets you toggle auto casting. All can be off if you want. If one is on, then cast that spell whenever you have the mana and the conditions are met for the spell. There are no conditions anymore, so it's just whenever you've met, well, I guess there's one condition. It may just be that the spell isn't already active. And then add tooltips and stuff. This isn't too hard to do or anything. I just wonder, do we want to reformulate this somehow? How do I get the stream back to live while on mobile? I think you just have to reload the stream. I don't think there's any other way to do it. Maybe changing the quality. Yeah, small camera. For Friday, I had the piano in here, and I just don't feel like rearranging the room to give space for the green screen anymore. I'll do that tonight, though. That way Wednesday we'll be back to normal. So you'll have buttons next to these and let you control which one you want to have be autocast. Could we just let you pick all of them? They don't have to be radio buttons. Could just be whatever you have selected, it just randomly picks one. That might be a better idea. So I guess goal, allow spells to be autocast. So option 1, exclusive autocast. You can only have one spell be set to autocast, and it'll only ever autocast that one spell. Or option 2, randomly choose from autocastable spells. You can set any spell to be autocast, and it'll just randomly pick from that pool. Which sounds better. So the current spells are plus customer speed, worker speed, and like loot drop chance, something like that. And right now they all have unique situations in which you'd want to use them. So just randomly casting them doesn't really probably make a lot of sense. But option 2 is a superset of option 1 in terms of what the player can do. If you are allowed to autocast any spell, then you can always just set it to 1 if you want. And then there, you've accomplished option 1 for yourself. But if you make option 1 the case, then it's like radio buttons for something. You have something like these 3 options. And when you select a different one, it's just going to move which one is selected here. So you can't have multiple, in which case option 2 is not possible if you code option 1. So I think I'm leaning toward option 2. But I do wonder, are you ever going to select multiple spells to be cast? Because if you don't, then it doesn't make sense to code this, right? And I think a lot of this depends on your mana regeneration too. Let's say your mana regeneration eventually becomes infinite. Then yes, of course you'd want to autocast every single spell because you have no concept of a resource for it. But if it's limited, then yeah, I'll let you choose, I guess. I don't know. I'm very torn. Pro players can choose to just enable one of the spells if that's what they want. But con players may not like the random choice of the auto-castable spells. And players may never have a need to auto-cast many different spells. Chat, what's your input? I don't want to just code this and then find out, oh, people want it the other way. It wouldn't be that hard to change. But I'd like to get this right the first time. Basically, what I'm planning on doing, we have these 3 spells. You can always manually cast however many you want, assuming you have the mana, which I don't. So let's go give ourselves the mana. Oh, upgrading. Oh, darn it. I never thought about that. Upgrading your max mana should probably give you that mana. Okay, that's a nice little change we should probably make for the player. Small changes. Upgrading the enchanter's max mana should probably give you that mana immediately so that you can cast more spells. How much do spells cost? 400? Okay, let's just speed this up. There, okay, yeah. So nothing stops you from casting multiple spells. I can click this green one and this orange one. We're going to add a button next to them that lets you set them to auto cast. And Oh, did my chat disconnect? It says connecting, but I just saw Cypher's message. I don't think I'd like auto casting a random spell. At that point, I just do it manually when I need a specific spell. Okay, so we go with the original way that we'd said of radio buttons pretty much. Okay, well then let's code that. And yeah, if people don't like that, then we can change it. So we need a button next to each of these things. And we probably need a lectern or something. Should probably raise all this stuff up. Yeah. Let's raise the mana crystal, the hover area, the spells. Move those up. And then I want to put buttons beneath all of these. I guess the spell itself should have that in it. So let's go open this scene. And we have a lever somewhere, right? It's going to be pretty much the same as this. It's going to have its own tooltip. It's going to have outline stuff. In fact, we could just make it look like a lever at first. There's a turn on and a turn off animation. It's going to be a radio button that's in world. Do we have the graphics somewhere already? I think it was just called switches or something. Assets, game assets. Let's just search for the lever. Where's this come from? Atlas texture. What are you? What? Oh, there it is. Yeah, switches. We have a switches thing. I'm just, I don't know. Yeah. Where is it? There it is. This should have the buttons on it. Yeah, it does. But the buttons just have an on and an off. There's no intermediate state where it looks like they're getting pressed down. So there's no animation we need to apply. It's just on or off. Should we also use the different button colors for the different books? Because we have a blue, a green, and an orange book. We could use those colors for the buttons. I gotta save with this thing being fully built. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. A correlating color sounds nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do that then. So we need to make a button, like an in-world button. And in this case, it's going to be a radio button. So where does this get saved? Lever. Town objects, yeah. Game improves rapidly. Cool to see. Thanks, SPX. All right, so let's get started on this. What is this thing? It's an animated sprite. So we're going to have a sprite 2D. Why did I just do that? That's not how you do this. This is going to be called in-world button. We're going to save this in scenes, town, objects, in-world button. And it's going to look pretty similar to this. There's a clickable area for it. Just paste that in here. Then there's an outline holder, outline parent on hover. Sure, so let's give this a texture. I guess make this an Atlas texture. Yeah, and then quick load switches. And then figure out where this stupid thing is. 096. How about we have the pressed or the unpressed button, whatever. 112. 112, 16, 16. All right, so there's our button. Now we need a script for this. Where did we put lever.cs? I want this in the same spot. Game source scene script. Sure. Source scene script. Done. This inherits from texture crop sprite. All right, we're doing pretty well so far. Now we need the outline holder stuff, and we need a shader on this. Let's go get the shader. Done. And now we add in these things, yeah. Outline holder, outline parent on hover. This points at this. This points at this, and this points at this. Okie doke. What about the shape? Looks good. Cool. Tooltip should say set via code. Good. Tooltip where this content shows up is probably set through a script. Is that what lever is doing? Tooltip. Yeah, there's an init there. Okay, let's go start by adding in the buttons to the various scenes. Spell books just have sprites, but they don't know which texture they're going to use yet. So we're going to add in a button beneath them. In world button. And then just drag this lower. And there, that's that. Okay, so we won't have functional buttons. They'll all be blue, but they should show up in the right spot. So let's take a look. Yeah. I almost clicked saved. Save. Yeah, they're huge. That's kind of a problem. And they don't look like buttons. That's another problem. I don't, yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't want there to be some like mechanical looking switch for that. But we could. I would definitely know how to click those. They look like boxes. Oh, you should be able to hover over them too, can you? Yeah, you can, although they're all using the same thing right now. We need to make that not be the case. Not that that's what's important right now. There, that's fixed. Yeah, I think we need to use these things. I think we need to use the levers. So torn. So torn. So I guess let's go find a table graphic or a lectern graphic. Do we have anything that'll suffice? We don't have just a single unit table, do we? I guess this kind of works. I want like an actual lectern. No, we don't have that. But it probably doesn't exist anywhere. I don't think drawing would be that bad, so maybe we shouldn't focus on this for right now and just use one of those little chair things. Just keep your spellbooks on a chair. Can you make like glowing runes or something? Yeah, you know, that's probably a better way of doing this. I wonder, I do want it to be a special control. We have these little crystal things. We could probably use those maybe. Maybe it turns gray when it's not activated. Yeah, like we have the crystal represent the button. I don't know if it's gonna be obvious though. I don't know what to do for this. But I think that's the closest I would think of for that. How large is this book sprite? Could we fit this here? No, it's larger than 16 pixels. So we need some space between these if we're going to do that. Because I was going to say we could put all the books onto like this long shelf and have the little table cloths be there. We could still do that. We could just make this a little bit longer. They just need a couple of like wooden pixels in between. And that way there's enough room for the books to be open. Yeah, I think the crystal idea is the best, maybe. Out of creative ideas for at least a week. Hey, Mazap. Finally took some time this weekend to play the demo. It was fun to do, send some feedback. Yeah, I saw. I just haven't had time to fully process it. I think I might have also found your Steam name by accident as I was doing some Google searching. Does it start with an R? Have you tried or toyed with the web export of Godot? I've heard for a few years the web part was his biggest downside. Has that changed? Probably quite the contrast coming from Pixie, although WebGL was and probably still is flaky. I have tried it, but only when using GDScript. It's not working right now for C#, and it seemed totally fine to me. The prototype of this game, which is like super out of date, like we're never gonna update this, is here, and this uses the web export version, and it works just like how you'd expect. You can play, you can do all the things in this sucky game. It's not a fun game, but at least the Godot parts are working correctly. With an R? Okay, yeah. Then never mind. Someone else I found then who happens to be in the same country as you, and um this only just recently showed up, I guess. So I just thought, oh, maybe it's them. Anyway, thank you for playing it. I'm glad you had fun, and I really appreciate the feedback. I will end up looking through it more. I just haven't processed it completely yet. Yeah, I'm very torn about this. I still feel like you should be able to control which spells get cast, and I don't like the idea of it being a button then, and even having it be a crystal doesn't really make sense. I think maybe some kind of rune would make sense. Maybe you could match the shape on the book, or maybe we change how spell casting looks anyway. We could just have mana be in some other section and have spells still get represented by this, and the book could be whether or not they should be auto cast. I don't know. I don't think I want to spend a lot of time on this though. I think we should just make the crystals into buttons. Yeah. Yeah, probably that. But is putting a crystal next to them all any better? I guess we can see what that looks like. Book makes sense for auto casting. Open for on, closed for off. Yeah, but then what's going to indicate that the spell is cast? Because right now it's open for it's cast and it's active. But I guess this doesn't indicate how long it's active for, although we can just change the tooltip to include this information. Oh, I'm so torn. Photoshop? This is GIMP, but if you're suggesting that I just Photoshop a gray crystal, basically, yeah, that's what I'd probably end up doing. I'm just not positive anymore how we're going to represent this. I want there to be some way for you to control which spell gets auto cast. I don't know. Oh, you're asking both. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do for this. I just don't have any ideas. I don't know what to do. Could add another layer to the book so there's like an extra symbol under the book that lights up. Trying to think magic-y. Yeah, I think what you're suggesting is good. I just don't have the graphics for it, and I need to make them. And part of me wonders, like, regardless of what graphic we're using for the button right now, I could code this. So should I code this, or are we going to end up changing this system completely? Maybe we just do keep them as buttons for right now, and we end up turning them into runes at some point. Yeah, let's just do that, I guess. I think it is going to look stupid, though. The buttons are just so big. And I think using these little switches would make sense, but they're not magic looking. But yeah, imagine, and that's I guess where I was going originally with this is what if we had a table that was a lectern that's like two blocks high and the switch is on the bottom of it, and you can just toggle the switch right on the lectern. I mean, we can kind of mock up what that would look like. Let's do that really fast. Oh, that didn't work. All right, let's just make a new image. 512 by 512 with transparency. Why is pasting not working? I don't understand. Oh, I'm in a floating layer. What did I do that made a floating layer? Oh, the book, right? All right, can we revert this? Revert. Great. Now we can actually select things. All right, so I want something that is 2 blocks tall. There's 1 block. Here's the second block. It obviously would not look like this. It would look like something better than this. And then we want a switch on here. This isn't centerable. And then we want the book on top of that. Yeah, I mean, it would work. All right, I'll look through the graphics really fast. I, I, I don't know what to do. Yeah. All right, here's everything we've got. Do any of these make sense? Does gigantic tree have anything in it? No. I wonder if just lights next to it could work. Like there's a floating lantern or something and you turn it on and it glows. Or what if no. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not able to come up with anything. Interior pack, is there anything interesting in here? Oh, something like that could potentially work. Giant tree, you had decoration. Isn't there a bowl? Could look like a button. Where'd the giant tree pack go? Maybe I didn't even open that. In GIMP. I think it would have to look like a button. I don't even think we have anything else that could potentially be used. Farming pack. Is there anything in here? No. What are those? Are those other books? What are these? Ottomans? I'm probably going to go with a button route and we'll just eventually have something for this. Yeah, I think I'm going to waste a lot of time if I keep looking through this stuff right now. Every pack screenshot. Can you write in cursive? Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything. And I'll just check this one last thing here. anything interesting here. Okay, we'll spawn an airplane every time someone casts a spell. Yeah, okay, fine. Let's just use the buttons or something. And then just have them look different later. Yeah. Okay, sure. So the button has two different sprites then, or we could change the sprite for this thing. We're outlining the same thing, so I guess let's just change the texture on the sprite. So we have a pressed and a like a not pressed version. Let's go do that. I'll probably put this stuff directly in spell data. I think I'll feel better once this is coded, even if it looks bad. Because we can always get different graphics. All right, what are we doing here? There was something I had on my mind, and I've just forgotten completely what it was. Oh yeah, spell data. So spell data has the crystal rect, the book rect. We need a button rectangle, and then a button when like a pressed button and an unpressed button, and they come from switches. And they're just these. Sure, let's do that. Unpressed button rectangle and pressed button rectangle. Okay. Okay, so customer spell is what color? I don't know. Blue. Worker spell is green. Yeah, so blue, green, orange. And is that what order they're in here? Blue, green, orange. Yes, good. Good, 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 good. All right, so unpressed one is at 0, 1, 12. 0, 1, 12. So the pressed one is just above it. There. Easy. Okay, now worker stuff. Workers are 16 pixels to the side. And then the item spell is 16 pixels to the right of that. Good. So when we initialize this thing, we should initialize it in such a way that it knows where to pull its textures from. And getting it from the spell data would work, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think we should make a public void init, which takes in the unpressed, the pressed, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, we can make setters for those. No, we don't need to. Private rect to there. Set these things. Oh, we're gonna need system for actions. Oh, so when you press it, we gotta have something that happens. Public event action pressed or toggled, I guess. This happens to be a toggle button. A 6-year-old nephew was sleeping behind me on the couch. He woke up and said, "Uncle, look at this, a circle." Does your nephew remember doing that? It reminds me of this movie, the Hudsucker Proxy. He doesn't? Yeah. I didn't expect him to. All right, so lever has a clickable area. We're going to do the same sort of thing. On click, private, void, on click. All right, we're just going to emit the toggled event. This thing should track whether or not it's pressed as well. is pressed. Private. I don't want to do this. I think there should be a getter for this. Yeah, I'll just return this. Setting it though, I don't know about that. Yeah, and I guess we could do this. Public bool is pressed. Get private set. Sure. So this thing starts out not pressed. And we do this here, sure. We get this. And then whenever this thing is modified, we need to use the right image. Okay, so we need an atlas texture. Atlas texture. Anything that creates one of these things. I guess we do 2 crop. Yeah. All right, atlas texture. Atlas texture equals new. We do need this. This comes from an extension. Thoughts on using underscore prefix for private variables? I don't mind it. I feel like in terms of sort of getting in the way, quote unquote, of how you code, it's very minimal. And it does indicate something. And it is just a convention, so you can choose not to use it. Updated to make that regex more robust, add more test cases. I think it's usable. May need to handle more cases in the future. Okay, cool. Yeah, I will write that down to take a look. Okay. So these are always going to come from the switches graphic. And the region is going to be based on whether this thing is pressed or not. Is pressed. Okay. Cannot implicitly convert texture 2D to atlas texture. Wait, what? That I shouldn't need to do anything special there. Oh, huh, it is just a texture 2D. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so this is that we set the texture to that thing. So now the button should be clickable, but they shouldn't actually do anything really. And we need to initialize these properly. And that's inside the spellbook itself. So the spellbook needs to get its button. I don't need, what do we call this? Like a auto cast button. Yeah, that's reasonable. You're gonna load new texture every time you click a button. In this case, we are making a new texture every time. We could cache them. It's fine. This is only when you manually click something that you're going to probably infrequently click. So even if we left it this way, it's not a big deal. In general, I try not to prematurely optimize. So had we cached these, like, yeah, it'd be marginally better. What was I going to do? Go to spellbook, right? And let's initialize this thing. Private in world button, auto cast button. What do you call the inline error text? Yeah, that's error lens. I've got a video about some of the extensions I use. And it's got links in there. Okay, so we're gonna fetch this thing. And then when you click this thing, well, we need to initialize it, I guess. So let's do that over here. Init. This comes from spell data. And then we can do this. And then we also need that when you toggle this thing, we do something on toggle spell, on toggle autocast, I guess. I don't know what this is going to do yet, so let's just print this out. You toggled spell ID. Okay, let's try that out. Oh yeah, that's right. It does get cached already. But we are making a new Atlas texture every time. We could just fetch the one that exists. Load. So we should be able to click these buttons now. Whoop. Tooltips don't work because I forgot to set that up. We don't get the town in here, do we? No. Do we get the tooltip in here? Also, no. We just initialize this with a spell ID. What do we do about the tooltip then? It must be that the enchanter den figures that out. I don't think I want to keep funneling this farther down. But I'm actually not sure. Yeah, I think this should have its own tooltip. Okay. I will change that then. Hey, Ashton. Let's do this. So initialize all these, I guess, with the town. Or how about just with the town's tooltip? Town tooltip, yeah. And then we'll pass that in here. Done. And we'll pass this down to here. And then that's what's going to be used for setting the tooltip like we did for the lever. We need to fetch the tooltip though, and we need to be able to update it, I guess. Although updating it, it should always just have the same text. So maybe that part's not really needed, but we'll still try this out, I guess. Init, we set this tooltip. Okay. And then we can set the text, I guess. Set text and update tooltip to click to toggle to do, fill this in. Would you say Godot is better for beginners in game development over something like Unity? I feel like a lot of things like UI and things like this in Godot, it's confusing me, but in Unity, it's simple. GDScript seems like it's not capable of things I want to do. I mean, if things in Godot are confusing for you, I would say that probably implies it's not for beginners. But no, I generally don't look at things that way. I think of things in terms of maturity to some extent, and I think that Unity is more mature than Godot in that case. And as a result, there are more resources. There's more of a community built around this. If you search on Stack Overflow for solutions to something, you're going to find other things that'll help you with that. So I think Godot's UI is actually decent. It seems pretty good. I remember trying to use Unity's UI back when it was not as mature, and it was really difficult. I tried in like 2015 to make something in Unity, and just, yeah, I needed to use some UI library. I had to like pay for it. And that's back when Unity was less mature. So I think it's more of a maturity thing. It's kind of what you're seeing here. And also what paradigms you're used to. Like there's a Unity way of doing things that is not the Godot way of doing things. And if you're coming from one, then you might be confused by it and think that it's worse, but it's not necessarily worse. It's just that you've gotten used to the other way. Okay, so we've set these things. Let's see if this works now. We still need to make their radio property and then the auto casting. All right, object not set to an instant object. That's because we're calling this before we are in ready. No, we just don't even have it ready. What am I doing? We got to get the tooltip. And it's not called tooltip if I'm not mistaken. It is called tooltip. I've seen reasons to use Godot, like it's open source, so I can add what I want to Godot to customize it how I like. Maybe I'll give it another go because I'm trying to work on a project without giving up. Here's what I'd say. If you're trying to work on a project without giving up, I think I would not worry so much about the technology. I would think about what's the scope of your project. So it should probably be small. It should probably not be super complex. And yeah, I think just pretty much these two things. And then don't change your tech stack too much. And that's if your main goal is to try to complete a project. If your main goal is to try to make money or your main goal is to learn a particular technique or something, it's not necessarily to do these things. But yeah, to finish a project, I think this is the most important thing. Just make sure that your project is not gigantic. If you want to make Tetris, cool, you could probably knock that out in a day or a weekend, depending on your experience. If you want to make World of Warcraft, too bad. You're never going to complete that in your life. Like, there's just too much content for a game like that. Not to mention all the different systems that are there. It's like you could make any one or two or 10 of those systems, but can you make all whatever thousand that they have and then populate the world with everything? So I'd say to like aim for some small number of months, weeks or months. And I think that's going to give you the highest chance of success. Also based already, yeah, thank you. In what scenarios would you prefer C# over C++? For me, every scenario where I'm allowed to, I just don't like C++. But anyway, if I had to choose, I guess if I'm using C++ is because I'm forced to use C++. Like, yeah, I want to dig into Unreal Engine code or something like that. In which case, like I said, I don't really have a choice. If you're saying why might you choose Unreal over Unity, I think you'd have to actually compare the engines and their monetization to figure that out. I haven't used Unreal and I've used Unity before. And to be honest, I'm not convinced Unity knows enough about how to keep game devs happy that I would probably go back to them in the future. So I'd probably try Unreal if I were to make a sort of serious 3D game, let's say. So yeah, at that point, I'd probably start using C++. Have I asked if the duck theory works or not? I don't think you have. And I think vocalizing your thoughts generally helps you find assumptions. So I think it can if you're talking about like rubber duck debugging. Okay, so this definitely convinces me that these are not the graphics I want to use, but they are working. They do all start at the wrong graphic. They're starting at this blue one. And that's because inside of ready or inside of a knit, I need to call update texture rec. There. So now they should be the right colors. Yeah. It just looks so dumb. Trying to aim for realistic style of the game or just high graphical 3D game. Yeah. I think it's cool the kinds of things that people do in Unreal. I do want to give it a shot at some point. I think there are two parts of making a game at a very high level. There's figuring out your foundation, and then there's actually making the game. And when your foundation is something as big as, let's say, Unreal Engine, this in itself is now a project. Like, yes, you can say I'm going to make a game without knowing Unreal and learn both at the same time. But I think just learning Unreal is probably a good idea on its own. So I think if I were to start with Unreal, I'd probably just set out to just learn a bunch of different techniques. I'd probably tackle some like small game prototypes or something so that we can feel like we're making progress. I think it's nice to have a project. I just don't think I'd tackle like a full game. And then once I feel like I've got at least some experience under my belt there, then I'd probably start building something for real. I thought one day it'll help me troubleshoot code. Do you try talking out loud? Because I think it does help. I like the engine. Nowadays, if you're not aiming for photorealistic PBR, then you're constantly fighting the renderer at every turn. Also, what is PBR? Physically based rendering, I see. I think the other thing that as soon as you make a game that is supposed to be photorealistic, the other thing that happens is that your asset cost goes through the roof. Like, how do you continue to get good, unique textures for your game? At that point, probably also your music and sound effects need to sound more realistic. Yeah, it looks great. And I think if you have the resources to dump into a game, it could be great. All right. So let's go code the radio button property of this now, which is that anytime a button is toggled, or wait, you not anytime a button is pressed, not toggled. Anytime a button is pressed, then we potentially unpress a bunch of other buttons. So I think it's printing. Yeah, you toggled this on toggle autocast. So this is the spell book. The spell book should probably know that it's autocast, but it should probably also emit this upward on spell autocast toggled. Maybe just on autocast toggled. Yeah. He helps them. Wadsworth is helping. All right, then the Enchanter Den, when we have... Whoops. We listen for these somewhere. What are these called? Expired? Yeah, there we go. On autocast toggled. On toggle spell autocast. Yeah. All right, spell book. Okay, so if this was enabled, then we have to disable the others. Oh, that was easy. There is one problem with this, which is that we need a way of turning off autocast from in here. It should probably just be settable right through this thing. Public void set autocast, yeah. Which means we need a way of setting is pressed on this, which I purposely got rid of. But yeah, we should probably just make this a public set now, huh? Private bool is pressed. All right, so this turns into that. This turns into... something like this. Now, does this work? It doesn't, but it's got to be set autocast. False. And this is just... Yeah, I guess there does need to be like an is autocast enabled. Maybe we should just have this be a public property as well that we manage. Okay, yeah. Oh, I just talked to myself and I really need to reason through something deeply. No duck needed. Yeah, it's something I naturally do when I'm streaming. And even then, I don't always catch my assumptions. But I think your main assumption catching techniques are the debugger and then just thinking out loud and then flailing around. Actually, the last one is talking to other people and then flailing around. But yeah, I think these are your best techniques in terms of catching your assumptions. Okay, yeah, let's make a property. Public bool is autocast. All right, so get is going to return that set. I guess that's all we're doing. Okay, well, that was easy. Is autocast equals false. And that's it. That's all we have to do. And then we just need to make it so that it actually automatically casts spells. So we load this up. So if I click this and toggle this off, it doesn't do anything special. But as soon as I toggle this, it should now pop up the blue button. Yeah. So this works exactly how you'd expect radio buttons to work, which is all we were trying to do right there. It just looks so dumb. I don't like these being gigantic buttons. So bad. Yeah. All right, well, let's get the auto casting part working next. So the remaining things we have to do here, make it so that when autocast is enabled, the spells actually cast themselves. You need the mana and you need the spell to not be active. And then make sure this saves and loads correctly. And what else? There was one other thing. Oh yeah, only show the autocast buttons when you unlock the new perk. Well, there's a little FM modulator here. Just all hidden. Circuitry's on the inside. Okay, so autocasting. Suppose this is on. Who's going to be in charge of casting this thing? The Enchanter Den is the only thing that knows how much mana it has, right? Yeah. So then this should be in charge of casting it. What gives us mana right now? It's our mana crystal. And how does the mana crystal do that? It doesn't emit anything from here. Okay, that's fine. I'm guessing, yeah, there's just a timer. We could just make an autocast timer. Once every second it tries to autocast a spell. I think that's pretty reasonable. I guess technically that means that at least a second can pass, or close to a second can pass. I don't think that's a problem. All right, let's make a new timer. So just timer equals whatever. This is the Enchanter Den. Let's set up the timer here. Cool. We're going to rename this to autocast timer anyway. Private timer equals null. Good. Then we immediately rename this to autocast timer. Try to autocast spell. Good. So this should only be done if you've unlocked autocasting. No, that doesn't matter. We just need to check to see which one's set to autocast. Wow, this already typed out everything I exactly wanted. How did it know? Clicked spellbook. I want to do pretty much exactly what this does. Except for not with the decline sound. But I still wanted to cast, I wanted to have the spell cast sound. But yeah, not the decline sound. What's the frequency? 33 megahertz. Okay, so where does clicked spellbook come from here? All right, so let's make another thing then here. Let's make a private void cast spell. Spellbook. And then let's have it figure out whether it should play a sound. Bool play sound on failure. And we're just going to copy paste all of this over to here. And this will call cast spell with the book and true. And this will call it with false. Oh, that's dumb. There. Hey, Thals. Yeah, just too lazy to set up the green screen today. All right, that should work. Let's go try that out. Yeah. We got to turn on the sound so we can hear. Then we load. Okay, so as soon as I press this button, well, not as soon, within a second of pressing this button, it should open this book and take some mana. Nice. And if I do the same thing over here, oh, it's playing the bonk sound. I forgot to use the Boolean that I created. There. But yeah, that pretty much worked exactly like how I wanted. That's pretty neat. All right, now we got to test what happens when this runs out. So we got to wait 28 seconds, but not when we can speed things up. There. All right, now we got to wait 8 seconds, and it should just cast it again within a second of it running out. Nice. Now, probably what you'd want to have happen is for this thing to just remain active. No, I don't know. We could lower the amount of time. I think this is fine so far. All right, now I want to see what happens when we run out of mana. This is going to be exactly timed so that we won't run out of mana, though, right? Oops, not like that. Yeah, in 7 seconds, we'll have enough mana to cast the other spell. I got to click this fast enough. Nice. Now it won't be able to cast a blue one again. But as soon as we end up with 400 mana, it should cast it. So we're just going to wait for 400 mana. Yeah, nice. Okay, auto casting's working. If we turn that off and then get another 400 mana, it should not actually do anything. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Cool to see this. All right, now we got to fix the tooltip. What does it say right now? Click the toggle to do fill this in. To do fill this in. Okay. So what are we going to say here? So the display name of the spell. Oh, which this thing doesn't know. So we do need to know this. Oh, no, it can't know. We need to know the tooltip text. So that needs to be passed in. Yeah, let's go modify the init property of this. All right, tooltip text equals $, click to toggle auto casting the customer frenzy spell. Only one spell can be set to auto cast at a time. Okay. Hey Luke, how you doing? How'd the stream go yesterday? We'll introduce a cheesemonger at some point. What if there's an entire cheese system and we haven't been thinking about this correctly? All you do is age cheeses. You don't even sell them. Click to toggle auto casting the stalking frenzy spell. Only one spell can be set to auto cast at a time. Yeah, I feel like that timer should probably be lowered. Or maybe when you toggle auto cast, if you meet the conditions, it should be done immediately. Something like that. It feels good to stream so long because you don't get stressed about streaming. I don't understand that part. Are you saying when you do short streams, you get stressed about it? Maybe some mid or late game perk to allow more than one autocast? I wouldn't mind doing something like that. I think what I want to know, though, is do people want that feature? Because right now, the way the spells work, you either get customer speed, you get worker speed, or you get more items. And that means that they're situational, and ideally, really only one of these is needed at any given time. So for example, let's say you have a bunch of items in your town. Like, we have not stocked these into shops. So the best spell for us to use at this point is probably the stalking frenzy spell. So now they walk even faster and they get to their destination. Well, now we've got a lot of items in our shop. So now maybe actually casting the customer speed spell is good. I guess maybe if you had enough mana to cast them all at once, then you would want them all to be on, but we don't ever give you that much mana. I feel like I haven't streamed enough for the community. Are you getting that feedback though? Because I think it's good to separate when is it internal pressure versus external pressure. And it's not like external pressure isn't worth acting on. It's just, or internal pressure isn't worth acting on. It's just good to know. Kind of like a Dungeon Keeper style game. I don't think I played Dungeon Keeper. What is that? Oh, I think people recommended this game when they were saying what my game is similar to. What is this? I think I've seen this before. I'm pretty sure I have. Yeah, I've never played this though. I'm not totally sure. But the way Skeleseller set up is you're running a town, you're collecting items, and then you're selling them. So like we have a shop over here with some weapons. And if I build this and get some more customers in here. Oh, here comes a customer. They're going to buy one of these dragon swords. Nice. Yeah. So what we're working on right now is getting auto casting to work. If you click one of these spell books, it'll cast that spell. But if you click this button, it'll toggle auto casting. And then anytime you have enough mana, it'll cast that spell. And you can only have one of these enabled at a time. So you build your stuff and then the people are influenced indirectly. Yeah, I guess it's similar in that style. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, quick note. I do like it when people try not segmenting their messages, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so we got the radio aspect of this working correctly. We got auto casting working correctly. We almost certainly didn't save and load this correctly. And then we need to make the new perk for this. So saving and loading. Let's hit save. Let's load. That button is going to be considered off. Yeah, we need it to be on. Which means that when we get the enchanter save data, we are saving spellbook data. Okay, cool. And we're just going to have a public bool is autocast. Easy. And then we just need to look for where this is used, which should only be here. Yep, looks good. So we get the save data is autocast donezo. And then there should be a load somewhere. Load from save data. Autocast equals save data autocast. Okay, cool. Let's try that out. No, the chat quantity is fine. Just the message quantity is all I'm talking about. I don't mind you chatting. I don't mind you saying all the same stuff. It's just if you can combine things into one message, I think that's the best idea. Really like the initial impression. Well, thank you. Yeah. Often saves me by letting me append to my previous message. Yeah, and I don't mind. I get that people sometimes don't fully form their thoughts ahead of time, but like I think the tendency in chat applications is to just type as you think. And it leads to a lot of things I don't like. Hey, Wasabi. Did the enchanter's robe change colors to represent the casted spell? It does change colors, but it's not to represent the cast spell. It's just also why don't they highlight? It's just every once in a while they change colors. That's weird. Did I break something? Uh-oh. It's oh wait, now they're highlighting. What? Oh, maybe the game didn't have the focus? No, but I had what? What's going on here? It only worked when I hovered over a different NPC? No, something else is happening here. I don't know what though. Is it only when they're orange? Oh my God, it is. I never knew that. Wow, well that's a bug. Bug, the outline on the enchanter NPC only shows when they're orange, not blue or green. No, that's good. Yeah. Growing games like Habbo Hotel. And I used to type in bigger paragraphs. No, yeah. And a lot of people sort of fall into that trap. And most people are fine with it. It's just a pet peeve of mine. All right, we should move these buttons up a little bit before I forget. So let's go do that. There's the spell book. There's the autocast button. Let's just, even like 3 pixels is probably fine. It's not going to automatically update in game. Now we need to do this. So we save with that button on and then load. Nice, perfect. Okay, now let's turn this one on, save and load. And now let's let this run out. And it should just auto recast it. Yeah, perfect. Cool. Hey, Rami. That's just how talking. No, I think it's fine. Like I said, I don't mind if it's just one person chatting. Yeah. Okay, so this is done. And now only show the buttons when you unlock the new perk. So, oh, that's gonna just keep making a sound, won't it? We need a perk icon. Do we have one that's close enough? Yeah, this is pretty good. Let's just use that. All right, you ready for this? This should be pretty easy to add. Enchanter, what do we call this? Autocast? Autocasting. I like autocasting, yeah. And then we go into, what do we have here? Mana crystal? Mana crystal? Yeah. Save this as autocasting. We'll come back to that in a second. I want to go over to Enchanter Perks before I forget and add this in. How expensive should this be? think, pretty expensive. I'm going to make it pretty expensive. I think it's going to bother people. I think we'll figure that out later. All right. So I don't need this. We don't need this. We need this to be set to auto battle repeat symbol. What do we call that? It's called cycle. Display name is auto casting. Max level is 1. Okay, so we don't need this stuff. Something needs to store that you have this. I guess it should be when you load or save the game. Oh, something does need to tell the enchanter den. Like show auto cast controls. Yeah, now ability description. I'll just copy paste here. Unlocks auto casting. Should that be hyphenated that whole time? What do we do for auto battle? We do hyphenate it. Okay, fine. Unlock auto casting. Oh, in which case we would capitalize the C in the class name. Fine. Fine. Done and done. And capitalize this too, I guess. All right, unlocks auto casting, which allows you to automatically cast spells when you have enough mana. I should say a spell. Okay, now the controls for this, we need in the enchanter den. Should be pretty simple. Public void that. So we go through each spell book, show auto cast controls. We don't have that function. We need the function. Done. Let's put this here. So we just get the auto cast button and show it. That's it. Easy. And then when you load from a saved game, we need to show it if you have the right spell, which we don't get here. So this won't work. And we don't save the town either. Drat. All right. Well, we need the player abilities then. Abilities component. Actually, we could just tell, we could have the parent class tell us whether we should show our autocast thing. Fool has unlocked autocast. Yeah. And then if you've unlocked it, then show the autocast controls. Okay, so then the caller of this needs to be changed. The enchanter den should have the town, which means we should be able to fetch this. In fact, we even have this. Yeah. Okay, has unlocked autocast is equal to that. Easy. And then when we load, we just put that there. Okay, that should do it. I think everything should work from start to finish now. Let's try it out. So we unlock this, give ourselves a ton of money. So we do not have auto casting enabled. So this just looks like it's not centered vertically, but it's because you're going to get controls eventually. So if we save and load here, yeah, we don't see the buttons. But if I click this and unlock this, which allows you to automatically cast a spell when you have enough mana. Okay, so I click this. We get these buttons. I save and I load. They're still showing. Perfect. And then you can use it to auto cast a spell. Neat. So now the only thing, and I absolutely strongly dislike this, is these button graphics. So we need something that makes it look better. I think I'm going to request these. Request art for new icons. Specific request. Hey, Skittercat, when's the next demo release? I actually have you listed down for the next user research I wanted to perform, I think. Wait, no, it's here. Yeah, maybe ask Dag again. Should update this with Skittercat. When is it though? So I want to aim for like sort of early to mid-April. I kind of have April 11th written down, and I think that's possible. The main things I want to do this on Wednesday, and I want to start tackling adventure progression and then any stabilization we can do. Yeah, so I think that's probably reasonable, somewhere around the 11th. But I'd probably ask you before that if you're okay with it. Looking forward to it. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the high level things that I've been working on. And if you don't want to see them, I won't spoil them. Too busy to play the last one. Okay, awesome. Wonder how the buttons could be themed so they fit in world. Maybe some kind of appliance that moves to the spot that's getting autocast. Yeah, I was wondering what if there was like a I don't know, what if you dragged a glowing crystal onto the book, or I don't know. I think it's got to be a little button on the lectern that this thing sits on. And even then, I'm not sure. I'm just so torn. The other thing we could do is, and we mentioned this earlier, it could be that the book being open. Oh, I don't have the mana. Well, I have like no mana. What's going on? Okay, hang on. Let's just speed this up. So, oh wait, I don't need to do that. I can just right click this. Yeah, anyway, the book being open could represent that it's being auto cast, and then we could put spell crystals back in the game. God, I don't want to do it. Yeah, we'll figure that out later. All right, so this is all done. So we're finished with the entire task, right? Once unlocked, put a radio button, blah, 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 add a tooltip. Yeah, that's all done. Thing like a floating hand, and when auto casting, the hand pokes at the book. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, these don't have, oh, they do, never mind. Oh, the cursor gets messed up when you hover over two things really quickly. I don't think that's worth fixing. All right, the tooltips should still, yeah, this should still be done. Okay, let's check this in. Looks good, looks good. Added the shader. Yep, what is this? In-world button. I don't think there's anything questionable about the button, right? There's a button sprite, there's a clickable area, there's an outline. Yeah, it's pretty reasonable. The lever changed. Why? Wait a second. Is this because I'm copy pasting between scenes that this happens? Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. This has this ID. Is this ID used outside of this? No, it isn't. All right, then I don't know why that's happening. But I wonder if copy pasting is causing that. Yeah, this all looks really good though. This part's questionable. I used a timer here. I think when a spell runs out, if you have enough mana, it should just do it immediately. I'll write that down. When activating autocast, or when a spell that was autocast expires, consider immediately triggering autocast rather than waiting for the timer. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Don't need this. Yeah, cool. This is quite the hefty fee, though. 500 gold. I'm not going to balance things right now, though. Yeah, everything's fine except for one thing. Yeah. And the one thing is that I'm hard coding switches.png in here. We don't already have this somewhere, do we? No, we don't. And the button only ever comes from here? Yeah, for now, I think that's fine then. Private const. Yeah, sure, Alice path. Okay. Let's try this one more time. I did not probably wait long enough for it to autosave, so I probably am loading from what I manually saved. Yeah, looks good. I don't have mana for that one. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, I like it a lot. Okay. Allow auto casting spells. Let me just hyphenate that. Oh, wait. Whoa. Speaking of hyphenation, this should be capitalized like that. Do we ever use autocast with a lowercase c? Yes. Okay, let's change that too. Any others? I generally don't care about this so much, but of all the times to change it, now would be the time. Yeah, it turns out I made this mistake everywhere. There's one other, yeah, here on autocast toggle. Here. Any others? No, that's everything. All right, we're gonna do one more search for this. Autocast, except for I want to search for lowercase c in cast. That's fine. That's not fine. Okay, let's go change it. It says 2 out of 18. How are there that many? Oh my God. Because I made this mistake in that many locations. Who would have thought? All right, any others? Seven. Okay, the scene itself. Click to toggle auto casting. Oh, you can't make changes in the search results? Nope. Gotta make that change a second time too, huh? Okay, go change it over here. Good, then change it in the script. One of my Tuesday players just dropped out. If you still want to join it, no, I'm sorry. But happy birthday nonetheless. Okay, that's getting really annoying. In the normal game, you won't just hear a spell get cast over and over and over. You'd also hear a bunch of other things, so I don't think it'd be as annoying. Also, you'd probably have music playing. And you'd probably be paying attention to the game to some extent. All right, good, bad, and bad. So toggle autocast is the last thing we have to fix. Yep. Okay, there. Now we're done. Allow autocasting spells. The only thing I don't really like about this is the button graphics that I used. But otherwise, the feature is working. Try running that one more time. Okay, build this thing. Give ourselves some money. Actually, we probably need to give ourselves infinite money. Casting spells works. What is this stuff? Potency of these spells? Neat. Save and load. We should have 3 active spells, the same amount of mana. Auto cast on. Yeah, cool. Cool. Let's check it in. All right, so now run .NET format, run the UID tool, merge the branch. Yeah, we're running .NET format now. So we have automation for the slime, the enchanter. We don't have it for the farm. I'm still not sure what I want to do for the farm. Oh, this is not going to work. And this is going to keep causing bugs, isn't it? All right, we got to fix spell data. How do we even fix this? It's just a formatting problem. It doesn't like that this is spanning multiple lines. I mean, we could define the functions. I don't know. Yeah. We could define them at the class level and then just point to them over here, and then this would be fine. It's just kind of silly. We could also just ignore these things, I guess. SA 1513. Make those proper lambda with one return line. They are already, though. Yeah, I think I'm just going to ignore this. Hey, Moondoggy. Suppress in source. Yeah. And then we just put this at the top. I guess let's put it here. And then restore it at the end of this. Oh, I see what you're saying. I wonder if that would work. Because I don't mind that either. Braces for multi-line statement should not share line. Oh, I need a semicolon. Does it complain when I do this? It does. Oh man. Or we violate the line length, I guess. Is that other pragma the same? This one's parameter names beginning with a lowercase letter. That's for our record structs. Yeah, I think this is fine. I guess I don't really care either way. Yeah. We might as well do this. As long as it's not some like super convoluted method for fixing this. And this is okay. All right, so we got to fix this in one more place. Return. Okay, there. And then get rid of this. All right, let's run this with -v detailed. Said I couldn't fix one of these. CA1724. What even is that? CA1724. C# analysis. Type name should not match. Oh, yeah. I don't like that. Yeah, that's true. I could put that in its own variable. All right, type name UI conflicts in whole or in part with a namespace. System web UI? Seriously? That's what it's complaining about? Type name farm conflicts in whole. The game source town's farm. Well, did it find anything else? It didn't. Okay, so I'm just going to say fix linting error. All right, what do I do about these other ones, though? There's a namespace farm. Maybe I should have called it farming as a namespace. And that way not too many files need to change. Namespace. I don't remember what it is. Game Source Towns Farm. Yeah, that. Yeah, there are only 4 of those. So that should be easy enough to change. But this one's going to be a little bit harder. Type name UI conflicts in whole or in part with the namespace system.web.ui. So it wants me to rename. Maybe we call this UI layer. I just don't like having to refer to it as UI layer everywhere. I guess we could just ignore that. But for farm, sure, let's go rename it to farming everywhere. I think that's fine. Oh, but then it won't match the folder name. Oh, God. Take care, M2. I hope you have a good evening. I hope you're recovering well. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to fix any of this stuff. All right, let's at least see what it would be like if we were to fix this. We call this farming, replace all of them. Now it says it doesn't match the folder structure. So we go and rename the folder itself. Which you can't do like that, apparently. We rename this to farming. And then we fix any paths that are broken by doing that. Seam paths are just for seam files. I guess. Should also complain about the class matching the namespace. I think I ignored the namespace part of that, but yes, you're right. I think it would break eventually. Oh, all the usings need to change now. Okay, fine. Easy enough, right? So stupid. And there. Now what? Now it's just potentially going to change. No, it shouldn't change alphabetical order. We don't have anything else that has farm. So what it built? All that to fix one tiny error. Look at what our change is for this. Is there a way to... 23 files had to change. 23 files gave their lives so that we could replace the word farm with farming. And the sad thing is I think I'm actually going to check this in. So now it's only going to fail on the UI thing, right? Which I'm probably just going to ignore. Because we're never going to use system.web.ui. And if we ever do, then we're going to fully qualify the namespace. Is there a way to tell it to use the directory as a namespace? You don't have to define in each file. I don't know. Let's copy paste your question into Google. Default namespace? I don't think so. Yeah, all right. So then let's ignore this in UI.cs. It's not even complaining over here. What line does it think it's complaining on? 15? This is always going to break .NET format, though. Name a spacer. Is this an Italian thing? It's not even asking me about this. All right, what is it? CA 1724. CA 1724. And we put this here. Type names should not. It's not even this, though. It's also apparently when it matches a built-in .NET namespace. Don't I disable this somewhere else? I apparently don't. Nama Spasa. It's not Italian. It says it's unnecessary. God, so ridiculous. All right, let's see. Does that cause this to happen still? Just log off for the day. What is Loco Moco? I have never heard of this. Dish featured in contemporary Hawaiian cuisine. White rice, hamburger patty, brown gravy. Huh. Interesting. Hey, look at that. Complete. All right, yeah, this is what we're going to do because I don't care about this. This is fixed CA1724 in UI.cs. And then this is fixed CA1724 for farm namespace. I named it farming. So I had to move all of the files in that folder. And that's it, right? We didn't do anything else? Yeah. Okay, let's push and see this working. Hey, Cavino, how's it going? Did you get your host disconnecting stuff working? I was able to watch yesterday. Hey, Samikins. Hey, Julian. Hey, Cams. And Espresso. We are just finishing up something that I'd been working on for probably like 2 days. Let me show this. Free 3D mobile game with complex mechanics developed in Godot. Oh, wait, live. Oh, I missed that part. I was just laughing at the typical tagline. That's great. Congrats. I'm still waiting for my Android phone to be able to play it. Hey, Brainoid. Yeah, so let me show this off really quickly. For those who haven't seen this game, it's Skeleseller, and the basic way that it works, check this out. We got a new battle map here. So the way that it works is you send your adventurers to a destination. Here, we're going to send them to the forest. They'll automatically fight for you. I know my keyboard cam's blocking this a little bit, but they are fighting in this battle. And when they win, which I'm just going to force here, they get some items, which you can then go stock in your shops. And then customers who want these items will come and buy them. And you use the money you get to upgrade your town, hire new adventurers. What we were working on, wait for it. Okay, cool. What we were working on is this system, the Enchanter Den. We have a system that lets you cast spells here. So for example, this says makes your workers move faster. So if I click this, it opens the book, it casts a spell, it takes some mana. My workers are now zipping around town. And we now have perks, and we got this perk, auto casting. So this unlocks auto casting. Now we have buttons in front of this. And when I click one of these buttons, it'll turn it on. You can only have one on at a time. And now when I have enough mana, which is going to take a decent amount of time, hang on a sec. When I have enough mana, it will just automatically cast the spell. Wait for it. There we go. Okay, so one more tick and it's going to just, it just cast that spell for us. What does the game's name mean? Are there skeletons? Yeah, so you were an adventurer and you went out and started battling. Imagine like Pokemon, you set foot outside the town trying to catch your first Pikachu, but you got poisoned and you went to a town, but they didn't stock antidotes, so you died and came back as a skeleton for some reason. We never fully explained that. And you start this town. So you're selling things as a skeleton. The way the game starts will eventually tell you some of that, but we don't have it in the game yet. So the way it starts now is just you're in the town. It says, I've got the land for Skeletown. I need adventurers to do battle, and you build your first building, which is this guild, and then hire your first adventurer, which you get to pick. Reminds me a bit of Moonlighter. Was that one of the inspirations? No, I actually did not like Moonlighter. I was more inspired by Final Fantasy 1, to be honest, but it's kind of a vague connection to this. So about a year ago, we prototyped this game called Idle Ascendants, and the idea was that it was Final Fantasy 1, but you would slowly automate the battles because of how boring the battles are in Final Fantasy 1. So you get into a fight, and at first you're manually picking your abilities. So I'm using my abilities and stuff. I need to actually have this battle finished for me to show off the rest of this. This was coded as quickly as possible. So there's a lot of like silly things going on here. Oh my God, it's missing the ability too many times. Wait, seriously? It's a 20% chance to miss. There, okay. So then once you win the battle, you can start putting points in your abilities. And the first one you have to put points into is this automation one. And now a quarter of the time, it's going to choose my abilities for me. So like right there, it just picked an ability without me having to choose it. You eventually work your way up to full automation, then start putting points into more interesting things. This was just the battle aspect of what is now in Skeleseller. And we got two main pieces of feedback. One is that why should you even have to unlock automated skills? Like they should just be automated by default, which is why that works that way in Skeleseller. When you get into a battle, it's just choosing the abilities as soon as they're off of cooldown. Whoops. So if we look here, we have execute on the rogue. That's a passive ability, but then we have two active abilities. So if the rogue gets into a battle, they're just going to use their abilities. Quick strike's being used constantly, and they use stealth every once in a while. And that's it. So now you don't need that. You don't need to customize which abilities you're using. And the other piece of feedback we got is like, at some point when you've automated this, you're not really doing anything anymore in the game. So we added in the whole town component to this. And it was just a way of making it so that there's a feedback loop in the game. You battle to get items, you sell the items for money, you use the money to improve your town, your adventurers. So we've been adding in some new systems. The game's playable on Steam. If people haven't already wishlisted it, that does help out greatly. And what we're planning to do is launch the next, we already have a demo out, but we're planning to launch the next version of the demo, which I'm calling Checkpoint 6. And it's going to introduce things like farming, fishing, perks for a bunch of things that didn't have upgrades before, and some other kind of quality of life additions. So one of the new things that we've added, we've had this warehouse here and you can store items in it, but that's it. You store one item per display. So wouldn't it be nice if you could stack items? And yeah, that's what we did. And now you can stack items. And that way, when your workers go to restock items, they only need to make one trip for 2 items. And customers only need to make one purchase to buy 2. Or you can stack up to 3 things at once. If you've upgraded this completely. And yeah, now I can drag these canes into my weapon shop and sell all 3 at once. So little things like that, I think, make a big impact on the game. And then I mentioned the fishing and farming systems. We have the fishing pond here. You convert potions into fish eggs, and then you battle your ponds to get the fish. We'll just throw all these into a battle. And then we also have the farm over here. That's interesting. Cannot find town's farm well.cs. That is because we just moved this and I did not update where this thing exists. But apparently it's only there. That's the only place where we did this. Are there any other C# files? Farm plot. Okay, that one needs to be updated. Anything else though? Harvest crop. No, that should be it. Okay, let's try that out. Hey, Matt. I think I already pushed this, but I did not merge yet, so that should be fine. All right, let's see if we can actually build the farm now. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I just made that change like 5 minutes ago. The farm works kind of similarly in that you move potions here into this seed maker and you get seeds. And then the seeds will automatically grow. I'll just speed up the game so you can see that. The problem is we do not have the rest of the system connected. So you can harvest these vegetables. Hey, John, how's it going? Oh, wait, today's March 17th. You were on the front page, right? How did that all go? I was just showing off some of the parts of my game here. I really appreciate the raid, though. Welcome in, everybody. Cavino's taking the pirates or the pirate flag, but making it just a regular emote. Yeah, how did it go? How was the front page hype? Are you like super tired now? I would expect you to be. I would expect you to want to cruise away right now. It was great. Got some new eyes on Rise of Piracy. Tried to promote the category best I could. Awesome. Yeah. Well, welcome in everyone who's here from the front page, who's here from John's stream. I was working on Skeleseller earlier. I just gave a pitch for this, so I'll do this super fast. But in this game, you hire adventurers, you send them into battle, and they'll fight automatically. And I gotta not zoom in so far. There we go. And when you win, you will earn items that you can then sell in your town and have customers buy them and use them to improve your town. So one of the town improvements we have is this Enchanter's Den. And this is what I've been working on today for a little bit, which is you can cast spells that will speed up various parts of your town. But now you can auto cast spells, and it puts a little button next to these. And when you have enough mana, it'll just automatically cast the spell that you have set to auto cast. Unfortunately, it takes quite a lot of mana. So once we get to 400, it'll just automatically open up this book. Yeah. When you're adding a pirate adventure, I was thinking of a ninja adventure, but not a pirate one. I wonder if we should do that. Anyway, as I'm sure you've heard from other indie developers, wishlisting the game definitely does help. So please do consider that. We're up to like 1,430-ish. It doesn't update in real time, so I can't tell you how many people have already done that on this stream. But yeah, that's Skeleseller. We're going to be still working on some more stuff. The next kind of demo target date that I have for the next version is probably going to be April 11th or so. The mana crystals change again. Yeah, we got rid of, well, the mana crystal is the same. We got rid of the spell crystals and we just replaced them with books. And now when the book is open, it means that it's cast. And it's okay. I think we need to improve these buttons for sure. I just put those in today. And they work, and it's clear what they are when you click them, but it's not clear beforehand. Like, is this a table? It reminds me of the blocks from Super Mario Brothers 3. Can I find that? I'm thinking in like, yeah, those. Reminds me of these. They're just rectangles in the background. Like, what were they even supposed to be in Mario? Yeah. Let me check something really fast. Sorry, give me one sec. Okay. Most important part of Mario 3, I know. It was one of the big improvements they added. There were no rectangles in Super Mario Brothers 2, and they said, this is a big problem. We got to fix this. We're Nintendo. We can't have this happen. So they stole another game, Doki Doki Panic, and they added rectangles. All right, so fix bugs in farming paths. I had only renamed scripts, or scenes. Oh, wait, no. I only renamed, yeah, scripts, not the scenes. Okay, I want to merge this. So we're going to close out all these tabs and make a PR out of this. So this is add enchanter perks, and the issue number is 581. Closes 581. There's still some minor polish to be applied, and I don't like the graphics that we used for the auto cast buttons. But in general, this should work. It adds 5 perks to the enchanter. Then it's not a crazy number of commits. And a lot of the modified files actually have to do with farming, because I just saw that there was a linting error. Why can't I scroll? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so collapse all these. I just want to see, is there anything that stands out as not belonging here? Just the farming stuff. Yeah, and a lot of that's just renaming. I really should have done that in a separate commit. Oh well. Yeah. I'm not splitting it out now. All right. So that was supposed to be done on Thursday. Due to some unforeseen sleep problems, I was only able to complete it now. But I'm feeling pretty good. I think today's been a good stream so far. Also, before I forget, let's fill out the journal. Didn't even give me time to post a silly message. Okay, hold on. Let me keep this open. You create your own assets. I made the music, but I did not make the art. And this is actually something we were working on a little bit. Can you hear this? Hang on, let's see. How loud is that coming through? Probably not at all. Yeah, unless I'm already talking. Anyway, I saw the piano in the room, which is why I don't have a green screen up right now. Hey, Potato. merge a bunch of PRs, had to spend a lot of time getting the new battle map integrated, and then finished added auto casting spells. Cool. Yeah, anyway, I've only made 4 music tracks for this game so far. I think it's probably launched with 6 or 7. It's not a crazy amount. Updated the PR. Oh yeah, we gotta go look at this now. Let's go do that. Okay. Thank you for that. Made the red tracks more robust. May encounter some cases down the line. Watch out. Also had to rebase from main to fix a conflict and force push. Got it. Added in 836, but I don't think it's useful. Probably not. Yeah. It's like a great code committing theme you've been working on finally. Oh man, I gotta go back to the drawing board when it comes to that music. I saved off all the chords that I came up with on Friday. Yeah, I haven't really played a lot of piano. All right, so this is 830 GHPR checkout 830. Whoops, that's not an 8. It's one of the problems with using a keyboard like this. All right, then we need to reset hard Kevin / proofs of concept. All right, that should be good. Let's make certain we got some of the new stuff though. Let's look at this one. Okay, so this is in localized messages generator test in line 128. Yeah, good. Okay, we do have the up-to-date code. Play your game now. I hope you have fun. Do keep in mind that a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about that we've been working on, I haven't been pushing new updates to the game because I want to release them all at once. We're in a state where new players wouldn't be able to have fun with the new stuff we've added. And actually, I think I was in the middle of saying that when John was generous enough to raid. I have the farming system in the game, but it doesn't do anything. So I didn't push this out to new players. But if you were to plant some crops over here, and then this grows, and you harvest the carrot, you're getting food in the game. There's a food value that's now set to 2, and there's nowhere you can see that and nowhere you can use it. And what's going to eventually happen is your adventurer stats are going to be controllable via a lot of these systems. So for example, food will control health. Your fishing pond will give you fish scales, and that'll control your fortitude. And then the tavern, which is already in the game and is already functional, is going to give you power. But right now it gives you both health and power. So that's what's going to change. And then skill points we're probably going to work on Wednesday. Right now you get them by beating elite monsters. You're going to eventually get them by rare drops from battles. So the game is still fully playable. The median play time right now for the demo is 1 hour and 17 minutes, which I think is pretty good. All right, we have the new code. Let's go try this out. So we're going to go to signpost and just kind of mess around with this. Test, it doesn't matter if I name this correctly or not. Hi, and then we call messages.test with 5, let's say. That's not working. Is it get test? I don't actually remember. What do we do for not enough money? Yeah, it's get. All right, my bad. Already forgetting how to use this. And then when I rebuild, if it was rebased on main though, I think. What's going wrong here? Oh, did I delete a curly brace? I did. Okay, my bad. Definitely my bad. Glad you like the music. Spent a lot of time on that. Okay, so this is working. What wasn't working earlier is when we tried to add in another parameter here. Buy. And then we type in 6. And now it seems like it's working just fine. Hey Vince, got accepted for a meteor position at a really good company. However, in my current position, I do a bit of everything. New position is mostly coding. Any advice to bridge the gap by next month? I'd say responsibility wise and being able to work independently. I'm on that level. So bridging it by next month, I think this is a question of just tastes almost. So for example, I do a lot of different kinds of things. I'll do front end stuff, I'll do back end stuff, I'll do whatever UX research, I'll do a whole bunch of tasks, and I have different different propensities for all of these. Like front end stuff I can do for about a week and then I just get bored of it. Back end stuff I can do for probably just months at a time and be fine. UX research, it's like, yeah, here and there. So if you think that you're fine just from a taste perspective, can you code for 80% of your job or something? Then I don't think there's anything you need to do. If you're not fine with it, then I'm not sure there even is something you can do. It's a mindset change you would need. So I think just being on the job more will probably make it a little bit better. With that said, congrats on the new position. I think if someone said, like, especially with game dev is so many different regions. You've got music, art, gameplay, design, coding, etc., marketing. If someone's like, you have to do music for a year, I would probably say, okay, I'm not going to do this then. It's not worth it. I just don't have the attention span for all the different kinds of tasks for that. Hey, PX, why am I so small today? I've still got the piano set up in the room and the green screen is behind it, and it just would have been a hassle to set up the room. So on Wednesday, I'll be back to normal. I'll set up the green screen again. I'll go back to this size. Try to find tasks you can do where you touch other things. Yeah, that's, I guess, another thing. You could try to branch out if at all possible. Or even just try to get variety within the coding tasks that you have. Excuse me, no sign of a cool event. Now there's an old meme. The vent is under the piano right now. Okay, so it looks like this is working. I did want to test some other little things here, though. What if we put a 0.0 here? Does it know that this can't be a string now? It happens from signpost, so we'll get hit immediately. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. Yeah. I wish you the best, Vince. Replay the Skeleseller demo. I hope you'll try it again when the next demo's out. And I'm hoping that you end up liking it. Because there's so much that will have changed. Okay, so this does not know that this is supposed to be a floating point number. I wonder what it prints out, though. I don't even see any output. What function is this? On visibility changed. Okay, so if I just click this button, what happens? Still nothing? Okay, let's just move this somewhere that it definitely gets hit. How about ready? Because this should be an error. I'm not sure where it'll be detected as an error. It's, oh, of course it's not printing. I didn't print anything. Message is, I'm guessing it's just gonna print high 6. Or if I typed another word in between and like high test 6 or something. Yeah, maybe later high 6. Is that a valid string identifier? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not sure what it would do with it either. But I kind of expected it to be a build error. So yeah, let's try this out then. String.format. What do we have? 0, 0, 0, and 1. Huh. Okay, so this is string.format. Yeah, let's see what that does. Maybe it is a valid string format. Enjoy your food, Leftist. I hope it's great. And happy incredibly early birthday. It's not that incredibly early. Huh, it is valid. I wonder what that even means. I expected this to require a floating point number. Because in what I'm expecting this to do is print out 1 decimal place. So if I had the number, let's say 5 here, it's going to print 5.0. And if I had 5.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it'll print 5.1. But apparently it's valid for strings. So yeah, shows how much I know. Yeah, okay, well, as long as it works, I guess. So if I put a D here, this will work. But if I put one here, it should fail. Yeah, all right, let's try running that. And it should know that it fails. Wait, what? Okay, I'm confused. Something definitely seems wrong there. What if I make this into a percent P0? Oh wait, it must still be this though, that we could have specified this here. And I set this to by. Coded this entire thing from scratch. I'm forever reminded whenever anyone asks from scratch of the Carl Sagan quote, which to first bake an apple pie from scratch, you must construct the universe. The answer to the spirit of your question is yes, but it is on the shoulders of all of Godot. So keep that in mind. All right, we'll print it out with this. I6 high by. All right, this goes to show me that I don't know at all how string formatters work. Why are you able to pass in strings for something that should be processed as a number? Is this because they get converted to their ordinal numeric equivalents and then back somehow? And what happens if I type a P0 here and set this to by? Like this is just a C# thing. And I guess the reason this is confusing me is I could have sworn there was a problem with this earlier where it had detected that this wouldn't work. But yeah, I don't see that happening now. C# playground. Set this to .NET 9 and do a string.format hello world. Let's just say 0p0. I hope I didn't just save that. Yeah, what? What? What is going on with that? Specifiers. Where's the standard numeric format? Here it is. Okay, so what happens when you try to format a string like this? I guess it errors when you have the wrong data value altogether. Doesn't even make sense though. Okay, I don't really care. If it's just doing what string.format is doing, then I guess it's fine. Yeah. The point of all of this is for localization. And I think like any localization, if there's ever an error, your users are going to tell you. And if they can't understand what to do, then it's a pretty big bug. But if they're like, oh, it says something like okay, and then there's a 5 at the end of it, they just be like, all right, I get that it's the okay button. And it's a minor bug that there's a number after it or something like that. I don't even think that would happen. That's a contrived example. But there are cases where it probably would happen and be frustrating. Like let's say it said increases your chance to crit by 0%. And it should be like 12.5% or something. That's obviously a gigantic bug. And this could be the difference between specifying like, okay, I want a round percentage versus I want something with 2 decimal places. Not in this specific example, but yeah. Okay, I think this is looking good. I think we will merge this. And at some point, we'll get to the stabilization phase of this demo little crunch that we have going on. And then I'll look more into localization stuff. Okay, I think everything is working as expected based on what I tested. Oh, we did not test the actual tests though. Let's go do that. So I click this button. And they pass. And I click, where's the other button? This button. Yeah, nice. Okay, that's it. Also, the automated tests pass for this. Done. And done. Okay. What a day for PRs. We merged like 7 or 8 today. Also, every time I open up that battle map now, I'm like, whoa, this looks amazing. It's just so much better than what we had. And I think if you want to see what we had, you could look at this picture. Yeah. How do I full screen? That's not the right picture. What happened? Yeah, anyway, here's what it used to look like. We used to have literal rectangles drawn between the paths, and we had this like incarnate background, which had a different art style. And now we have these waving flags that are outlined. We have a totally matching art style because it was made by the same artist. And it looks great. I was wondering how you see when you go placing things in the world, essentially, if you use a visual editor for that. Oh, yeah. So Godot itself lets us do things like that. We have this town scene, for example. So whenever we're placing individual trees, we can see them for sure. And we didn't make Godot from scratch. But then using the tools, we made this world from scratch. So, yeah, that's... I think the spirit of your question is that most things are made from scratch here. Where's that map coming from suddenly? Wasn't here the last days. Quickie Joe made it. And yeah, it's just great. There's not much else I can say about it other than it's amazing and perfectly fits exactly what we wanted. And there are nice little touches too. Like this path is not filled in right now. And when we click upgrade portal, it gets filled in and now there's a little flag here. And for the other ones, we'd have to actually like beat the boss here. So I could just kind of cheat this in. But yeah, the path goes through everything. And that way you get a sense of progression going through these. We might even want to show... We might even want to hide these buildings now that I think about it, right? Like, what if when you made a new game, all you saw was maybe like a cloud or something over this? Or I don't know what exactly. But yeah, what if we revealed, like, you didn't even know there's a volcano here? Yeah, something like Fog of War, maybe a silhouette. I kind of like the silhouette idea. In fact, I might talk to Quickie Joe about that. I think that'd be pretty good. I also think it'd be very easy to do because I think Quickie Joe would be making all of this artwork on different layers anyway. Like for me to cut this out would be hard because I only have the composited image, but I assume he has the original and can do that. So let me ask about that. Hey, Mr. D-Boy. I don't think I knew that you streamed. Is this Godot? Yeah, this is Godot. Welcome in. What do you stream, Mr. D-Boy? Perhaps we should split out the what's this? Dark Silhouette. Yeah, we should split out the map features, like the volcano or the canyon, and show them as a dark silhouette. Just so I understand, are you coding outside the framework of Godot, just making the landscape with Godot and then importing it somehow? There's a pretty decent mix between the two things. So for example, we just worked on the Enchanter. The Enchanter den looks like this. The graphics are a little messed up in the editor for us, but there's the mana... Wait. Oh, I'm on the wrong branch. Anyway, there's the mana crystal, there are the books, and then all of the code for this, you see this little scroll icon here? This means there's a script attached. All of the controls for this stuff is inside of code. So for example, the Enchanter den itself is, yeah, like 200-ish lines of code to control things like how do you get mana, what happens when you click a book, how do you load from a save file, those sorts of things. Oh, interesting, Mr. D-Boy. Yeah, by the way, I tried out your game and I was super busy. So I had like 3 minutes or something. So I left some quick feedback over Discord. But it looks good. And yeah, I look forward to playing for real at some point. Not just when I'm like super quickly trying to look through. Does this work with JavaScript? You can probably, thanks to some extensions that they have, you can probably get it to work with JavaScript. But in general, you won't find a lot of resources for working with JavaScript. The main thing that they funnel new people into is something they made called GDScript, which is pretty close to Python if you use that. And GD script has gotten a lot better over the last 5 years. I last seriously used it in 2020, and I last used it at the beginning of 2024. And even since I used it in 2024, it's gotten better. I don't think there's one for JavaScript. I think you can just generate your own though, right? Isn't there that GD extensions thing? Native libraries. I don't know. I need to look into this. But yeah, maybe it's not possible. What was I gonna say? Something about GD script. Oh yeah, I made that game a long time ago. What was that? How do I even find that? What is even on this page? This. I made this with GD script back in 2020 just to learn Godot. And unfortunately, it's going to be practically impossible to play because I don't have a WASD keyboard. Oh wait, I do have one attached. Aha! Time to use my keyboard that came for free with my new computer. I can use this and I can play the game. Yeah, so this is like Realm of the Mad God if you ever played this. And it's a little kind of nauseating for people who are not used to the rotating controls. But yeah, you moved around the map and you shot different characters and there were abilities somehow. Oh, there we go. Yeah. This was single player and it was something I did in just I think actually like a week or two, right? But we didn't spend a very long time on this. You'd have to write bindings and everything in C++. Yeah, I guess it is a far cry, a difference between it's possible and it's possible like easily right now. But yeah, using GDScript, quite fun, feels lightweight, lacks a few things you may or may not miss for hobby game dev. I think the stuff I wanted has been mostly addressed because they stuck out like a sore thumb to me. There are dictionaries in GDScript, but they didn't have types until months ago. Not even like years ago, just months ago. Maybe even like 2 months or something. So if you wanted to type dictionary, it was just that, well, too bad. You just use a dictionary. And those sorts of things just rubbed me the wrong way. So I just switched to C# for this project. What's the keyboard I'm currently using? This is a Korn keyboard. It's got 36 keys. So the general philosophy is you've got letters and stuff on the main layer, and then you enter another layer to type things like numbers, symbols, to navigate around. And then once you've gotten used to it, it's pretty nice. If you're watching me type at any point, you'll probably see there's very little hand movement for the kind of stuff that you might have hand movement for if you're on a QWERTY keyboard. So if I say something like, this is the 453rd time I've typed this, and then put it in parentheses, I just fat fingered one of the keys. There we go. Had I not just messed up and then repositioned my hand, that would have been very little hand movement. But like I said, I accidentally pressed the wrong key. Would have happened on a regular keyboard. Ruined my whole demo. Final idea. Maybe have a perks board for interactions between systems and say that perks will only show up when you unlock the involved systems. Every time you harvest an item from your farm, you get 1 mana for the enchanter. You know what I was thinking? We have no real replayability of the game right now. And there are a bunch of different ways you can do this. I think the easiest one is some kind of randomization as you play. So imagine that you got a mage character, but this one has 14 power, and then you get a mage character that has 18 power, and it's like, or different spells. Like this one has fireball, and this one has a frost spell. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is I think some kind of like challenges after beating the game. Some games do this like a boss rush mode, or even some kind of like altered playthrough. I've always really, really liked Castlevania Circle of the Moon. This game did something I thought was pretty interesting. They had, there's probably no way to show this easily. They had a regular mode you could just play through. So your first playthrough was you had magic, attacks, like normal stats, all the stuff you normally expect. And then on your second playthrough, I think it was magician mode or something like that. You had all spells unlocked by default. They're like super powerful, but you're very weak physically. And then your third playthrough was something different and so on and so forth. But anyway, so for Skeleseller, what I was thinking of is, what if there was a challenge mode where you get some sort of like, I'm just calling them interplay perks, where, okay, farming normally just has farm perks, but maybe farming affects fishing and fishing affects enchanting, and so on and so forth, such that you're now changing how you play a little bit. I don't know if that'd be worth a whole other playthrough of the game, but something along those lines. Battle things, pick up drops after winning battles, sell those items for gold. You can build your town. Yeah, yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, or some kind of randomization. Yeah, maybe you can unlock the same class multiple times. You can hire like 5 mages or something. I think if you're gonna play the game another time, I think you'd want some difference in how you play, but also probably more challenge. And not necessarily, but it all comes down to how many choices there are the first time through. I want to learn Godot, so I downloaded it. It's just an executable. That's the whole engine. Made me uncomfortable. For what it's worth, you could build it yourself if you wanted to. I mean, if you don't trust an executable, you're not going to trust just building code from scratch. But I think it's actually kind of a nice perk of using Godot. It's very easy to get started with, even from just downloading and opening it. Like Unity, I think, I haven't used it in a while, but it had like a Unity launcher and you need to figure out what version do I want. Whereas Godot, it's, yeah, just download, open, run. Yeah, like battling different monsters, different amounts of monsters. Yeah, there are ways you can tweak difficulty. I think in general, if you're gonna play a game again, just changing values of things is not super interesting. Like, what is it? Breath of the Wild had a master mode in the game, and they did a couple things. One, they did just increase value, so they increased health, but then they also added in health regen for monsters, and it was actually really aggressive. This on its own changed how you play the game a little bit, because now you don't necessarily want to fight enemies knowing that they're going to take even more of the durability of your weapons. And then I think there was some other change. I don't know what else Master Mode did. But anyway, this was like a unique enough change and it changed your gameplay a bit. And it probably wasn't that hard for them to code. Other games do like totally different things. You are playing the whole game, but it reversed. Like Diddy Kong Racing did that. It was actually kind of crazy. Like you get muscle memory for how you go around a track and then they just obliterate it and say, okay, now the track is mirrored. Kind of interesting. Trust such as there's no installer. We're using C# for this game. One thing I don't like about Breath of the Wild is how everything breaks. Yeah, I know. I think durability is a big complaint from people who play the game, but I just loved Breath of the Wild. I think it's such a great game. Hey, Trash. How are you doing? I notice you're using a lot of classes either for different controllers, systems, or for some other stuff. Can you elaborate on it? Why not use resources for something like that? What's a use case for classes? So resource is kind of an overloaded term in Godot because practically everything's a resource. You might be talking about what are essentially structs, which are just collections of properties. But basically, a class is a combination of properties and then some functions that act on those properties. And when you think about it, Godot is set up for pretty much object-oriented programming. Like their entire concept of the scene tree and nodes is that way. If you want something that's not doing this and maybe use an entity component system, there are things like Bevy where it uses Rust and they added their own entity component system. But basically, since there are already scene trees and nodes and you compose things that way, it makes sense to use classes for things, have your properties together, make functions on those. In the end, what's nice is it's all up to you. You can do whatever you want anyway. You could use singletons for every single aspect of your game and you could still have a functioning game at the end of that. Or you can use object-oriented programming or a more functional approach. There are lots of ways of doing things. Anyway, this idea that I started to ramble about, I'm not certain where it should go. So I think let's just put it in the design document for now under ideas. Yeah, I don't really have a better place for it. We could have a perks board for interactions between systems, e.g. farming can affect fishing or casting spells. Maybe we could even say that the perks will only show up when you've unlocked all the involved systems, so check back often. Yeah, Luke, I know about that bug. It gets stuck because of how like a battle window is open or something and you need to move the mouse. It is rather unfortunate that that happens. If you full screen the game, you can more easily pan using the edges of the screen if you want to. So if I just move the mouse to the top of the window, for example, it will pan. And same thing with the side or the corners. Clicking and dragging works. Middle clicking and dragging works. The arrow keys, WASD. But yeah, WASD kind of gets stuck. And I think the arrow keys do too. Yeah, that is a known bug that we're going to eventually fix. All right, Enchanter Polish. Definitely do need to file tasks on this stuff. I'm going to tackle a lot of this stuff tomorrow. I want to figure out, I've been making short videos. And I want to make another short for tomorrow. I'm just not sure on what. I did not make any of the assets. No, I can't take credit for any of that. But I agree. It looks great. Hey, Casey. Belated hello to you too. And welcome in. All right, art requests and this stuff. Yeah, this I'm going to hopefully fix tomorrow. So we're finally done with these tasks. This is done. This is done. So it's pretty much like figure out what short I may make tomorrow. When I'm watching senior guys and gals like you, it seems like you're creating big classes. There are lots of definitions. Used to mod minor stuff for RimWorld, and they also have such XML files where there are lots of stuff open to configuring. Do you also try to keep it easy to mod or expand? I'm not concerned at all with modding or expanding right now, unless by expanding you mean like us making more content, in which case that is a consideration. When I consider what code we're making, I generally aim for some combination of maintainability and just sort of development speed. I am a very, very strong believer in the you ain't gonna need it principle, which is a lot of times you write code and you find out later it's like we just never use that code. And for games, one of the difficult things is that when you're iterating quickly, like we made this farm system in a... Did I? Hang on a second. That definitely shouldn't have broken. Game reference not set. I wonder how I just did that. It's not currently here, is it? It is here. And the seed maker doesn't exist? What? Okay, I'll go back to that thought on you ain't gonna need it in just a second. I wanted to talk about iteration speed. But first, let me try that out. How do you get C# debugging working in Godot? Excuse me. I have a set of notes I put online with practically everything I ever write. And if you look up C# in Godot, I have a setting up section here. Yeah, to set up debugging, follow these instructions. Just take a look at that. Short video on the merits of backseat dev and open dialogue and stream regarding coding choices. Well, wait, sorry. So what I wanted to do is a continuation of the game dev problems and how I fix them. I want to try this series for a little bit longer. I will write down what you just suggested. File this video suggestion. Yeah. Oh, Cloud, thanks for the sub. Welcome in. I appreciate it. Yeah, what happened here? I tried building this and it just crashes immediately. Oh, that is a problem with me never having clicked Godot. Okay, that's an easy problem to solve. Yeah, I don't like that you have to do that, but it's not hard to fix at least. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the iteration speed stuff because I know Trash was asking about this. Yeah, now we can build this. Okay, great. Yeah, the way Godot works is when you put a file in your file system in a particular place, Godot doesn't know about it and it has its own import files. So if you don't actually give Godot the focus, it never knows to run this stuff. So it wasn't actually broken. Yeah, anyway, iteration speed. So I was going to say we made this farming system in about a week. And imagine that we found out that this actually isn't fun. And we haven't confirmed or denied that it's fun yet, but we're hoping that it is. If we end up deleting this or changing it, a lot of the code might change. And then it wouldn't have mattered sort of what you had at first. It's sort of hard to communicate the depth to which you have to think about this because I think a lot of people have it in their mind that like tech debt is bad. But I think I would reframe this to mindless tech debt is bad. A lot of times you are intentionally incurring tech debt so you can move fast. That's exactly what a prototype is. It's like, don't worry about your code, write global variables, hack things together. Who cares? Like, draw in resources yourself. It doesn't matter. You're probably going to throw away the code, but you're not going to throw away the learnings of like, did this solve user needs or was this fun? So yeah, sometimes we incur tech debt and we know that it's there in the code and we know that things can be better, and it's just we got to move fast. The amount of dev time in even just a year that I've spent on this is kind of crazy when you think about I might launch this game and it might make like $10,000. Getting paid $10,000 for a year of work, given the industry we're in, given the level of experience I have, is like nearly an insult. And yet that could totally happen, right? And uh, yeah, there's no guarantee your game's going to do well. And obviously there's a need to focus on marketing. I'm not trying to open that can of worms right now. But I think that's what plays into everything that you see here. When code should be architected well, I think it's worth thinking about it. And when you just need to move fast and you can keep things self-contained, then it's not so bad. Hey, Sphere for you. Thanks for the raid. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. You know, I think Spherophoria and I end at practically exactly the same time. Because whenever Spherophoria raids me, I'm always like wrapping up. And I think it's probably the same when I raid you. No. I'm staying around for at least a little bit of time. But yeah, I hope it was good. Send them along. I will eventually. I want to show you really fast. I've been working on this. We finally have a perk system in the game for the enchanter. And most importantly, we now have this auto casting thing. So now you can just click one of these buttons, which doesn't really look like a button, and it'll just cast a spell whenever you have the mana. So that's one of the big things we did today, and then a whole bunch of other little changes. We have a cool new battle map. Look at this thing. It's amazing. So yeah, you can click a location, send your party members there. Yeah. Yeah, sure thing, Trash. Yeah. But yeah, how's everyone doing? I hope you're well, Sphere for you. One of the things I was talking about is that I started making shorts on YouTube. I was very opposed to this for a long time. And even once I wasn't opposed to it, I was still kind of dragging my feet. So I started a series called Game Dev Problems and How I Fix Them. And given that they're shorts, they're not super valuable, and I'm still learning my way through this. And I want to make one of these tomorrow, and yeah, I want to figure out what it should be on. The way I was thinking about it is you can kind of look at almost any part of the game, and as long as it wasn't so straightforward to make, you probably have some content you can talk about. Like the title screen, it's so straightforward that it's not like we solved problems in making the title screen. It's got exactly what you'd expect on a title screen, right? New game, settings, quick game. So I don't think there's anything to talk about here. But maybe like how we made saving or loading, or I don't know, some tips about who knows what. Maybe something about worker AI. Yeah, maybe. I think one of the things I'm going to try to do is predict what the comments are going to be. And I think with worker AI, people would probably say, like, I want to be able to customize what my workers are doing. And it's just not a goal. And I don't want to have to keep repeating these videos that, like, this game is supposed to be simple. It's not like Factorio. Anyway, that doesn't mean I can't do the video. It just means I need to predict what people will say, I guess. Characters disappear and the monsters die after a few seconds. Yeah, that's also known. How much time do you work on your game every day? On the days that I stream, it's typically somewhere between like 6 and 7 hours. Like today worked out to be, yeah, about 7-ish. On the days I don't stream, it depends on what I'm doing. Tomorrow I'm going to make a video. That'll probably take like 2 to 3 hours. Then I want to file all these notes and everything. And then maybe do some programming. I'm not actually sure. But it's been kind of all over the place. In December and January, I was working practically every single day. And I don't think that's a good idea for me. It's so hard because everything is that level of context. Yeah, and shorts are necessarily by the name short, or else they wouldn't be shorts. You just make a full video. And that means that there's less context you can give. It's like anything that's difficult, it's just things you didn't used to know. Yeah. And that was one of the problems with the video I did last. I talked about how this system that we had used to be more difficult to understand for new players. And like people who watched the stream for a while, and I myself know, I put lots and lots of hours into the original system and the new system and just coming up with game design changes. And what it sounded like to people who watched the video was like, oh, you had some other piece of the system here and you just deleted it. Like, yeah, of course it's going to make it simpler. And what I failed to communicate in that video was I think that's the best move for this game. And sometimes cutting out a system is the best move. I keep thinking about games. I used this as an example in one of the comments I made, but Path of Exile has just a bonkers skill tree. And if you're not used to this sort of thing, if you look at this and you've never seen Path of Exile before, you think like, oh, it's a kaleidoscope, right? This is the skill tree in the game, and there's just like a billion choices in it, and you have a lot of customizability. And then you look at a game like Animal Crossing New Horizons. Could you ever imagine a skill tree like that in this game? Like, there's no skill tree in this game. You can hold like 10 items on your hotbar or whatever, and you got a pretty small inventory. And it's like a system X can be great, but it isn't great for every game. And I wonder if I should just do a video on that. Maybe just do a video on how different games should have different systems. It'll probably feel too obvious to viewers. I don't know. Yeah. That's one of the skill trees. Yeah. I only played Path of Exile very briefly, so I don't remember a whole lot about it. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Perks of the Enchanter done. So I think this will be Wednesday that we do this. Wednesday. I'll just move this up here. So rare items and skill gems. Let's take a look at this. Allow for rare items to drop by changing the loot system. Currently, the lowest drop rate we can provide is 50%. We need to be able to lower that drastically. Yeah, I've got some implementation details here. Consider marking that an item is rare. Add a few rare items in the game. Consider a shader like this. What is this? Oh. Maybe. And what's the other one? Skill gems? Yeah, design them a bit. Add rare items. Allow them to drop. On the surface, this stuff doesn't sound that hard. I think coming up with what is the theme of skill gems, I think that's going to be very difficult. Because, like, it doesn't make sense that a gem is giving you a skill point. I don't know. So, like, should they be books? Should they be something else? Are they magical? So, yeah, I don't know about that. And then the other thing is communicating how you use them and everything. We eventually need that UI. I thought about allowing the player to decide what spells to use in battle, sort of giving some direct control over the adventure. Yeah, I've thought about it greatly, and the conclusion I keep coming down to is I don't think it's very worthwhile to do. I made a video, and I don't mean this to be dismissive. I'm going to link this in, but I'll also try to summarize it. But I made a video talking about automated game design, and I'll share this in case you're interested and want to watch some like stupidly long video later. But the short story is this game is essentially an automated game, and that means that a lot of players are going to just do something that's good enough because it's not worth optimizing for them. And there are two ways you can kind of get around this. One is increase the efficiency difference between good enough and optimal. And actually, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Let's say you have a system where you're operating at like, I don't know, 50% efficiency and some other players at like 50,000% efficiency. The difference between you is so vast that you might be incentivized to get better. But in Skeleseller, that's not really the case. Like you could always optimize, but is it going to make a gigantic difference if your rogue wins in 17 seconds versus 35? It's a 2x difference. It's not crazy. You can just walk away from your computer and they'll just auto battle. So giving the player manual control would mean that the battle system would need enough depth for you to be making an interesting decision, which would then change all of the battles. And I don't think there's a way to do that and still have it be fun, basically. And if you do allow for automation, then that means that the players who aren't using those manual controls are going to be doing just fine anyway. The way that a lot of games do this, like I said, the efficiency thing, if you imagine a game like Cookie Clicker or a lot of incremental games, typically your manual action, so clicking, is going to give you like 100x the resources of your automated actions. Where did the slime go? I don't have the slime unlocked right now, but I can unlock them. And there they are. And they have perks now. You see this? Check this out. We have this one, which is when items are about to disappear, they instead get inhaled by the slime. So watch what's about to happen. Blam! They're all gone. And we can make them get hungrier faster and offer more money. New slime upgrades, 2 more hours of playtime right there. Yeah, new slime upgrades. I don't know how much extra playtime any of this stuff is going to add. And we need to do some balance passes and everything too. But yeah, it's all working. It's cool to see it. Okay, yeah, these things I think we'll need to consider. No, actually, we probably don't need to do this. Tackle rare items first. Feels good to be influential in the world, but let the world do its thing. Yeah, and I think a lot of automation games have the player making some decisions. They're just different depending on the game. And I kind of talked about this a little bit in that video about Factorio. I only played Factorio for about an hour, but none of the individual actions you take in Factorio are that difficult. The problem is it's basically an optimization game for your whole factory. And how you're thinking about this is pretty interesting, which is why the game caught on. Other kinds of automation games are very different. Like if you played The Sims, just regular The Sims, where your characters are eating and they're using the bathroom and they're getting a job. The decisions you're making, your Sims would be fine if you just left them, probably, or at least with the later Sims games. I think in the first one they'll probably just all die if you leave them for long enough. But like they'll be fine. You'll still play the game. They'll probably still even like gain skills and everything. And if you left them for long enough, maybe like a week, you'd come back and you'd probably have a bunch of maxed out Sims. I'm actually not sure what would happen in that case. But I guess that's a good example of this. Like the fun is in playing the game and making decisions. And for Skeleseller, I think part of the fun is watching stuff happen and planning at a high level. Hey, Ben. The little adventurers running around were able to retrieve and display random Twitch chat usernames that likely be well received by streamers of these automation games. I think I remember you mentioning a little integration as a stretch goal. It hasn't been revisited. I do think it's a good idea eventually. I think... Do I have this written down? Yeah, visitors just have names from chat. Yeah, I'll paste what you said here too. The way I look at this is, what is going to make this game successful? And if it were like Twitch is the main marketing vehicle, then yes, focusing on Twitch is probably good. But I don't know how much it's going to rely on live streaming. The other thing too is, like, is this going to convince a streamer to play the game? Or is it just a nice feature where it's like, oh, hey, we notice you're streaming, connect your Twitch account and you'll get people from chat in your game. So I still think of it as a stretch goal kind of thing. And it's not even like it's that hard to code. I could probably, I don't know, we could do it in a day or something, right? But is it worth spending that day on it? Twitch is being sued. What's the ground of suing them? Twitch is getting sued for more than all the money that exists in the world. Okay. What's the here? Reinstate an account. That's it? Someone got banned? Okay, sure. It feels so rewarding by starting from scratch, then naturally having to upskill as that becomes too tedious. Like you really value the factory you've built because you've gone through the painful process of doing everything manually. Yeah. And I think that's key to a lot of these slowly automate games. And I think that's really the incremental nature of a lot of these. It's interact with the system, have fun with it, extract all the fun you could get, and then move on to a new system. And I'm not totally sure how that's going to pan out in Skeleseller by the end of the game. The way I kind of think about how a lot of this works is you need enough game mechanics where modifying those mechanics can be fun. Like if you had a battle system where all you had as options were attack and I don't know, like run, there's just not a lot you can do, right? You don't choose what attacks you have, you just have attack. So, okay, you add in something like spells, or you add in different kinds of attacks, like heavy attack or something, or you add in combos, or then you start having mechanics where, okay, now there are interesting interactions between those mechanics, and maybe then you can add in different systems where there are interesting interactions between those systems. So, yeah, we got to figure out how that's going to work. Because right now, I mean, people seem to be enjoying the game, but
Whoops.
I don't know for how long they will, or whether they're going to be like, oh man, that game was so fun, I got to recommend it to a friend. All right, I got to wrap up. I've been streaming for too long, and I didn't take like a single proper break today other than my lunch break. Probably shouldn't have done that. All right, who's online? Man, getting hungry too. Give me a sec. I'm trying to find who to raid. Yeah, and thanks for trying it out, Luke. All right, so let's see. Oh, that didn't work. Same category, English. All right, looking for people low uptime and then I'm not following. You can raid this person. Yep, they met the goal. Okay, let's just see if they're actually there. Yeah, they're there. Okie dokie. All right, I really appreciate you all being here. I'll be back on Wednesday, so 2 days from now, and we're probably going to be working on rare drops and skill gems. If you have not wishlisted the game, that would be great. It is free. You are not committing to anything. It just adds it to your wish list. You just click this button. Yeah, that's it for me. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care. I'll see you later. We'll check out this person together.